Atomic Habits has been on the New York Times bestsellers list for over 5 years now and has a spot on almost everyone's bookshelf. But have you ever wondered where the ideas in the book come from? Today, I'm taking a look at one of the major influences behind Atomic Habits, a method called Tiny Habits, developed by Stanford professor BJ Fogg, who is a behavioral scientist and came up with the Tiny Habits method after decades of research in human behavior. Let's see how the two compare and what we can learn from the foundations of habit science. Hey, my name is Julian and this is the second part of my Atomic Origins series, where I dive into the sources and inspirations behind Atomic Habits. Now, if you're familiar with the timeline here, you'll notice that Atomic Habits was published before Tiny Habits. So technically, the Tiny Habits book is not a direct source of Atomic Habits, but its principles are what James Clear based a lot of his methods on. Both books want to create lasting change and help people improve by incorporating small, easy habits into their lives. But they approach this goal in slightly different ways. I'm not going to fully summarize Atomic Habits right now, because that's been done enough, but I'm gonna give you a quick reminder about the 4 laws of behavior change, which were: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. They are what I'm gonna be referring to a lot when I talk about Atomic Habits. But let's talk about Tiny Habits now. One of the most important concepts in Tiny Habits is BJ Fogg's B-MAP model, or B equals MAP, which states that behavior is a result of motivation, ability, and a prompt, or a cue. If you want to create a new behavior or habit, you need all 3 components: enough motivation, the ability to do it, and a prompt at the right moment. When people want to change their behavior, they often focus on goals. But not all goals are created equal. For example, let's take a common goal: being healthier. To be more precise with our language, Fogg differentiates between aspirations and outcomes. For some, an aspiration might be to feel more energetic throughout the day, while the outcome could be something specific, like to lose 10% body fat. So aspirations are long-term general desires, while outcomes are measurable results you achieve over time. However, what really matters in building habits is focusing on our behaviors, the small actions that will eventually lead us to achieving these aspirations and outcomes. If you're not sure whether you are thinking about a goal or a behavior to do, you can ask yourself the question: can I do it right now? You can't feel more energetic or lose 10% body fat in this very moment right here. But you can do behaviors like packing your gym bag, going out for a walk, drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or eating an apple instead of a snack. These small habits done consistently over a long period of time are what will improve our lives. That's the core idea of the 2 books. Fogg explains that motivation is influenced by 3 things: the person, so your desire to do the behavior; the action, whether the behavior has a reward or a punishment tied to it; and the context, the environment you're in. If we match this to Atomic Habits, we land at the 2nd and 4th law: make it attractive and make it satisfying. Both books agree that if you don't want to do a behavior, or the reward isn't satisfying enough or immediate enough, then you won't do the behavior repeatedly. Next, we have the concept of ability. Fogg's B-MAP model suggests that the harder a behavior to do, the less likely you are to do it when prompted. So to make a habit stick, you need to reduce the friction. This aligns directly with Atomic Habits' 3rd law: make it easy, which means that in order to succeed with our habits, we need to focus on easy, manageable behaviors. So for both methods, as their names suggest, we need to start way smaller than we tend to do. Running a 20k in the woods becomes tie your running shoes. Play the piano every day becomes turn on the piano every day before going to bed. Improve your drawing skills becomes open your sketchbook every day. Lastly, we have the prompt, something that triggers you to perform the behavior. Fogg encourages you to link a new habit to an existing habit, which might sound familiar to you. For example, tying your shoes could be the prompt for doing a quick stretch. He calls these prompts anchors, which are part of the habit formula. James Clear just took that concept and gave it a fancier name: habit stacking. By stacking a new habit on top of an existing one, you make the cue for a new behavior obvious. Just like Fogg's anchors. This is a key way the 2 books overlap. Now, I want to highlight one key difference of the 2 books. a thing that Tiny Habits does a lot better than Atomic Habits, in my opinion. BJ Fogg puts a lot of emphasis on celebrating every tiny win right after you complete a behavior, by using techniques like giving yourself a high five or saying to yourself, good job. The reason this is so important is that your brain needs instant positive feedback in order to reinforce the behavior. The faster your brain connects the action to something good, the more likely you are to crave it and repeat it. Clear's fourth law, make it satisfying, talks about the importance of reward. But I've always found his method of using a habit tracker and waiting for long-term results less motivating. And the way James Clear handles his fourth law is my least favorite part of the book. Tiny Habits celebration techniques might seem silly at first, and not all of them will be for you, but they work because they provide instant gratification. That's the crucial moment where you start to associate the habit with a positive feeling. So where does all of this lead us? Both books are built on the very same principles, but they follow different approaches. Atomic Habits is brilliant for its accessibility. Clear took a wealth of habit research and distilled it into something anyone can pick up and apply to their life. He didn't discover most of the ideas in his book, but he packaged them in a way that makes habit building practical and achievable for millions of readers. Fogg, on the other hand, offers a more research-based approach. He's in the trenches doing experiments, and Tiny Habits is packed with insights that come directly from his own research. If you've read Atomic Habits and are ready for a deeper dive into science, Tiny Habits is the next logical step. Ultimately, both books aim to help you build better habits, but they offer different tools to get there. So if you're serious about lasting behavior change, I'd recommend reading both, starting with Atomic Habits and then leveling up with Tiny Habits. Let me know in the comments which book resonated with you more. In case you're still interested in Atomic Habits and hearing me talk about it, then definitely check out the first part of my Atomic Origin series about The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And then I say we see each other in the next one. Bye. Fogg.